Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov's chess channel and welcome to our series The Best Chess Games of All Times. So in this series we're covering the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history, and today it's time for a Vladimir Kramnik game. He played here really Immortal attack against also respected Grandmaster Levon Aronian. The cool part about this game is of course that Vladimir Kramnik played here with the black pieces and he played such a sharp Berlin defense. I've never seen really such a sharp Berlin, because the Berlin is supposed to be a static opening with really no dynamics, with tiny little improvements of particular pieces, with positional setups. This game is really one straightforward attack by the legendary Vladimir Kramnik, and be prepared, this is really wild game. So let's check out now the game. Levon Aronian played the move e4. We have e5 by Vladimir. We have knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to b5, the Ruy Lopez, and now knight to f6, the Berlin defense. So d3, which is now one of the most popular lines, I think, in 2020. I think we have seen many times. Now you have to, I think, develop the bishop on the most active square. It's of course the square c5. There are of course other lines. For instance, if white castles, then we can play maybe a normal line with bishop to e7, but still, I think this, after move d3, the move bishop to c5 is the best. Here bishop to c6, which is also quite popular from white's perspective, this line. The exchange variation, after bishop takes c6, we have d takes c6. Of course, you cannot take knight takes e5, you get queen to d4. This is this tactic that black is always preparing in these types of setups. We have castling, and now queen to e7. And here comes really already a slight inaccuracy play by Levon Aronian. It's the move h3. So we want, of course, to play this prophylactic ideas. We don't want to risk the spinning idea by black. But now I've seen many times after the move bishop to let's see a possible continuation. Maybe here something like knight to d2. Here after bishop to g4. Here maybe h3. Now knight bishop to h5. Maybe now knight to c4. And the main goal now is to play something like bishop to e3, knight to e3, and then maybe kick away the bishop with knight to f5, and then knight to g3, because we don't want to further weaken our pawn structure with the move g4. But here h3 is of course perfectly fine, because you're preventing this idea. But now h3 immediately without this challenging the bishop is very risky, because Vladimir Kramnik from this point on immediately starts his attack. Rook to g8 immediately, with preparations to play the move g5, because you have already weakened the pawn structure. As I said, we want to play then further g4, and it's really a one-way ticket here. We have king to h1. Levon Aronian sees probably his problems in the position. He gets with the king out of the range of the rook, because there are always discovered attack possibilities in the game. We have knight to h5. We're preparing this move, g5, and here we have c3. What Levon Aronian is of course trying to do is to create a pawn breakthrough motif with d4, and here Vladimir goes all in with the move g5. Of course, there is this tactical threat, knight to e5 and queen to h5, which Levon Aronian will play, but still this is very aggressive by Vladimir. We have knight to e5. Okay, we can maybe take out the knight, but that's not the point of Vladimir Kramnik's attack. It's the move g4. He is breaking the position. You see how problematic it can be if you, for instance, take knight takes g4, bishop to g4, h takes g4, and it's a checkmate immediately. Queen to h4, and here after king to g1, we have now a monster tactic, knight to g3, attacking the rook, but that's not the point. You cannot take the knight, that's the most important thing. And now we are threatening, of course, queen to h1 is game over. So you see, after the move g4, we have now d4 played by Aronian, bishop to d6, remaneuvering the bishop, and we have now g3. What Levon Aronian is trying, of course, to do is to create some kind of a blocked pawn structure, to create some kind of a compact position again. And Vladimir Kramnik simply takes now the knight, which is, of course, the key defender. The knight is very well placed in the center. It's protecting basically everything. Now he gives up. Okay, this bishop was good. The bishop has good activity, but this is a good trade of pieces. After d takes e5, we have queen to e5, and now queen to d4. Here, if you try, for instance, knight to d2, I wanted to show you what happens, because you have to protect the pawn here on e4. Then again, it's very risky. You have again a nice tactical shot, knight to g3, f takes g3, after queen to g3. You cannot protect basically this checkmate, so we can play maybe something like queen to b3, but again queen to h3, king to g1, and maybe now queen to h5 or bishop to e6 is perfectly fine. Although you're down a piece, but I still think that this is perfectly fine here for black. Bishop to e6, maybe something like queenside castling here, and start to push the pawns here, h5, h4, h3, getting the queen somewhere. We can always at least try this perpetual, so no way that we're going to lose this game. So queen to d4, but here, as I said, that was the line after potential knight to d2. Here, queen to d4. What Levon is trying, of course, to do is undermine the pressure to trade off the queens. But of course, Vladimir Kramnik is not interested in that move. Here we have h4, and it seems so that everything is good together now, and that everything is protected here for Levon Aronian. But now again, a new attacking move by Vladimir Kramnik. That's how you should attack. You should always find the next attacking move. Really, at least it's a provocative move. At least it forces something white to do. White needs always to react. We shouldn't never allow these pieces to develop. You see, white has here, of course, developing problems with these three pieces. They haven't participated in the game. Although Vladimir Kramnik's bishop and rook haven't participated in the game, but still this bishop, it seems so that it has a good activity, although it hasn't played so far, but it's very important in black's attack. Here, after move queen to c4, bishop to e6, the bishop comes out with the tempo. We have queen to b5, the check, but now c6, of course, kicking away the queen. You cannot take the pawn on b7. You have to retreat again with the queen, and you see now how the pieces are all on the queen side. They're really not doing nothing there. Now it's really time to attack again. We have f5. Great move by Vladimir Kramnik. The problem is now if you take e takes f5, then you get bishop to d5, and you have some problems on the long diagonal. You will have some even checkmate threats around the square g2. Very, very risky to take. So that's why bishop to g5, and here Vladimir Kramnik sacrificed the rook for the exchange. Rook takes g5, h takes g5, and now we have f4. It's not the point that we want to take the pawn. This pawn is useless anyway. We can take the pawn. It's still a better continuation for black. It's still winning for black, but f4 is more accurate. Great move. f4 here, splitting again the pawn, because if you take g takes f4, then knight to f4 will happen, and maybe you can try to attack this knight, but still we can play first the check. You have really some troubles. You have to play f3, and now it's time to take the pawn. Everything is protected, and it's now even a forced checkmate. We can sneak in with our queen. We can play bishop to f3, or we can play even g takes f3 followed with queen to g2. So really too many good possible lines here for black. White is simply lost. So after the move queen f4, queen to d1 was played. Here, Levon Aronian is at least maybe trying to prevent black from castling. For instance, if black castles and then maybe gets this rook somehow, maybe on the f file or g file, then this rook can be used as an attacker. So that's why here rook to d8. Again, a new tempo against the queen. Queen to c1, again pushing it away to the queen side. A really nice attack by Vladimir. Really, again, the pieces are so bad. In the game we have now f takes g3, and now knight to a3, trying really to regroup, trying to get at least some kind of defender in front of the game. But now rook to d3, again a new attacking move by Vladimir Kramnik. Here rook to d1, and pause the video and try to see now the best next move. As usual, we say this nice words, test your might in chess. Try to see now really such a great move that Vladimir Kramnik here saw. Rook to d1, it's not so easy to see, but you should really notice the light square problems that white is here in the position. Okay, in this particular moment, Vladimir Kramnik played an immortal move. He played here the move bishop to d5. So what's the point about this move? If you take rook takes d3, then we get queen to e4, the check. You can only cover with the move f3, but now again g takes f3. We have maybe queen to e1, forcing a trade of queens, and it seems so that everything is perfectly fine. We got rid of the queen here, but now you get f2, the discovered attack. You maybe can cover with the rook, but it's the same idea here. If you try to take with the queen, then bishop to E4 is of course checkmate, rook to f3, and again bishop to f3. Again, the same thing happens even if you try something like rook to f3. Then we simply take out first the queen, and again bishop to f3 is again pardon me, we can take it's a check here, so we can at least promote the queen, and again it's game over. So here, as I said, after the move bishop to d5, if you try to take the bishop, let's see now this line, again you get this check. You can maybe hide with your king here to g1, but again we have at least g takes f2. You maybe can hide with your king, but then again queen to h1, king to e2, and now queen to f3. You can maybe play another move, but now knight to g3. You see the knight comes very active into the game. It's again a checkmate. So that's why here in this particular position, Levon Aronian tried to move f3, tried to cover the light squares, but now we have g takes f3. We have a bishop sacrifice, e takes d4, but now queen to e2. The queen comes very active into the game. The problem is now you cannot compete on the second rank. The rook is protecting everything in the game. Rook to e1 was played, but now we have g2. And in this position, Levon Aronian resigned. So let's see possible continuation. Maybe king to g1. We can play f2. You can maybe here play king to g2, but now we're promoting a new queen, and it comes with a check. Everything is covered, so it's again a nice checkmate. But as I said here, after the move rook to e1 and g2 in this position, Levon Aronian resigned. So incredible attack by the legendary Vladimir Kramnik. Really such a sharp Berlin defense. You can see sometimes how much problems you can get if you give up your bishop pair in an early stage of the game. Here, I think really such a beautiful chess game, and it deserves, of course, to be on our list, the best chess games of all times. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. If you want to see more brutal attacks like this, check out my best chess games of all time series. Here's the link. And if you maybe want to see some other brutal attacks like this, check out my commented chess games played by computers. Here's also the link. And if you like this content, you can also subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and chess is the best, of course.